that is used in order to raise awareness on human rights, but secondly, as a process. So that the important thing is not the end, is not to have a good, nice performance, but to involve people in the process in order to be able to understand through theater this. First of all, let me introduce our organization. The organization I represent is Action Synergy. We are based in Greece, in Athens mainly. And we are mainly an education organization that we are working a lot with the use of culture for education purposes. So the main objective would be the education and the training. I would like to, we have been established in 1986, so it's 36 years now that we are operating, and we have international projects, mainly cooperating with different partners, cultural or educational organizations in Europe, but also around the world. So I would like to share with you some experience that, some main experiences that we have in this issue, in order to show you a little bit about the work that we are doing here. This is one example of a project which is called Diverse, and the aim of this project is to is a project that is addressed to teachers, but is a project that wants to empower teachers to improve the management of the diversity in the classroom. So we have proposed some methodologies. One of them is the use of theater, of drama in education. So here, what is important is the process, is the creation of a safe space for the students of a classroom in order to be able to express their feelings and to express their thoughts that they could not express otherwise. They could not express in a frontal lesson or in a conversation, but through the safety of a role, they could express this. And through this process, we could see, and we have realized, because this project was implemented in 6 countries with the involvement of more than 500 teachers that have done this. And this is a method that the teachers were not aware of, but they have used, and they have seen that there's a great potential to talk about different issues, in relation with the human rights, but also the rights of the students themselves. Talking about the rights of the students themselves, I would like to give the example of a project that also Dark Theater was a partner, the Rights for Kids project, where here we were focusing exactly on the issue of the Convention about the Rights of the Child. So there is the UN, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, and we have organized theater performances in different countries, where we have selected articles from the Convention for the Rights of the Children, and we have created performances. You can see. different kinds of performances, this which includes different kinds of theaters that are based on an article. So this was developed. So here the process was also very important because this was developed with the participation of the children through workshops that make them aware. So we discussed what is the Convention for the Rights of the Child, what are their rights, what is important for them, which rights they think they are violated, for example. And on the basis of this and the basis of the ideas provided by the children themselves, we have created performance that we have performed in, in front of an audience. And the performance was different according to the different countries that have participated in this project, and there were different different articles on which we have given importance. Another part in relation with another project in relation with the human rights is the rights of women against gender-based violence. And here we have we are participating in this project that is also addressed to teachers, and we have the use of methods, of theater methods, in order to speak to to students, to adolescents, about gender-based violence again through the use of theater, so the development of lesson plans that are based on theater again, in order to allow the use of the theater as a method to speak and to raise an issue that is very difficult to be raised, especially in our context that teachers or other professionals are afraid of how this could be approached. So we have again used art and especially theater in order to increase the awareness and to see also how we could react, possible perspectives of from the different characters that are involved in a violent situation. So this is something that we are working on. And also for this, I would like to say that there is an international training course that is starting on Tuesday. So tomorrow is the last day for registrations in case of someone is interested to participate. And we are focused on this, on the use of theater as a method to approach gender-based violence. And I know my time is running up, so I will give a last example of a project that is for interculturality, for the right to be integrated in a society, in a host society, in case of immigrants. And we have used used fairy tales, theatrical narration of fairy tales in order to find similar fairy tales between the countries of origin of the migrants and the destination countries of the migrants, in order to explore similar culturalities and improve intercultural communication, and also include the human rights related with the participation in the life of the host country. So here it's a the example of a video that we used the theater, and we have migrants that were able to narrate a story, a fairy tale, in a theatrical way. We have this library, let's say, of fairy tales that we have from migration countries and from countries of destination. And this is another way that we have used theater. We are working very closely with a specific theater, Hop.La theater, and the director, Mr. Nicholas Kansis, that we are partners in most of these projects. So we think it's a very important way to raise awareness on human rights in an emotional way that is not didactical, but it can leave a profound sentiment, and people will not just see something and then forget, but would leave this and would have an imprint that would be important. And I stop sharing. This is from me.
Thank you, Kostas. You said already on the beginning something that I was keep on reflecting while you were presenting, because you said how the process is important, most important, and actually, as we are all the rest are coming from the theater, and we all know that creation is a process of research, is a process of discovery. And probably that's why we can actually offer this so effective tool for the talking about the human rights, including, for example, yesterday we presented a film based on the Dancing Trees projects, and then immediately in this cinema they said, we should show this film more, and people and kids with the. So all the knowledge that we get about the climate change, ecology, somehow enter in the film, and now they could be really pedagogical tools, if you want, a part of artistic. But I will, maybe this is a good link for Petra and Jessica to present their project, ongoing project, and the last Generous Forest. I will.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, Kostas. This was really interesting and a very big project. Okay, me and Jessica, we started this project 3 years ago. I had for many years this wish to make a performance in the forest, as I have a big love for the forest and big love for theater. And so I asked Jessica, and she said, yes, let's do that. And then I read an article. It was actually was a Gestalt therapist in England who wrote an article about self-development. Self-development is very often based on a philosopher called Martin Buber, talking about I and thou, how this is important between two persons that are equal is where the things happen, not when I talk to something that I can use, but equal connection. Then the magic happens. And then the writer, she wrote, we often use this only for human beings, but we don't think about the rest of the living creatures on this world, in this our ecosystem. So we thought, okay, I talked this to Jessica, and we thought, but how? And she said, how if we start to have this I and thou dialogue with also the trees, with the nature, with the animals? So this was kind of the base. How can we do this? How can we take people out in the forest, creating a performance, something artistic, and then make them to feel, not to think, but to feel this connection with nature.
Have a dialogue.
Yeah.
with the
dialogue.
forest and nature. Yeah.
So then we searched stories, and then we were out in the forest and listening and writing from our fantasy. And Jessica was making costumes, and we were finding places. And maybe shall I show some pictures while I'm?
Yeah, do that, and then we can say that the way we worked, it was like sometimes we had a story or something we wanted to tell, and other times the forest told us what the story was, or the different landscapes, the scenography, because a very, very big part of our performances is finding the right places. It's not just going into a forest, okay, let's play here. We have our play and this we make here. No, we go very deep into the forest and communicate and find landscapes, spots, hidings. We find places that we feel we have a dialogue with and which can express what we want to. Sometimes like, yeah, we have the story before, and other times, like the picture, Petra, you just showed here, you see that we can also say that we created figures, we created characters that we call forest people, we call ourselves. It's not like any traditional in Sweden and probably a lot of other countries. We have many traditional characters that are connected to the forest, but
to the fairy tales, yes.
To the fairy tales, and so. But we created our own characters, which was there's a lot of freedom in this, but it also made us able to express what we wanted and make the stories we wanted. The picture before, Petra, of you were silverfish was your name, and then beside there is like this box with all the tales, which starts the story.
With the roots down into the earth. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And now this picture, this is of our musician, which is called Gladan. It's a bird, a name of a bird. And you also see in the costumes, I made the costumes, and I try to not use anything from the forest, no leaves, no nothing. I actually went, on Petra's recommendation, to a shop with textile from Pakistan. So it's full with glitter. It's filled with Arabian party textiles. But this connects very much with the forest, and it also gives this diversity, actually. But it melted into in a very nice way. So we feel that we created some figures or characters that are very personal.
Yeah, and that also, it was many people actually that mentioned that they really liked that because it created an openness, because the old stories, there are so many things connected to them, also with church, with many things. So this was creating an openness. And here we have in these pictures, you can see there are people laying in these hammocks, and our musician is playing, and I was telling a little story, very open story. And so this was a place where the audience also could open themselves up and be alone with the
we also walk. I don't know if we told that, but it was a walk in the forest, and then you went and these different tableaus. You met these the audience saw these different tableaus.
Yeah. Yes. And now we have made different variations of the performance for 3 years, and now the commune they really like our work, so they have chosen us to develop our project together with the university, and let's see what that will lead us to. But we are yes, we want to make now we have made this, and we want to make something completely new. So let's see if we get the funds for doing that.
But it's we try to, in a different way, to make people aware and sense and feel the forest and act. And our goal, if you can see that, but is that people in that way get more involved in environmental issues and caring for the planet. To make it short.
Yes, but it's really the photos that you share, thank you so much, are really impressive. In some way, I feel how you are connected. I mean, even the photos, one can feel this, what you said the last, they imagine, because actually it's like giving the time and pointing to the people to reconnect, and in the sense, like in this case, giving the rights to the forest to speak to us, isn't it? Yes, and I was like also in the, I think it's extremely important, this what we started at the beginning to say, like in a way we are, as you said in one text, we are all connected. Our human rights cannot be looked separately, the rights of all living beings, because once also, Petra, you said in conversation, like if you look to the rights, anthropocentric as we do, we are in the big danger to be selfish, simply. It's our rights are most important, but we see that a part that is not just, it's not going anywhere. We can see, and also in the last research for our last production, we found more and more initiatives, even in the law initiatives, to give the rights to the rivers, to law of the mother nature. Yes, in many countries, it's not so much, but it's coming. It's coming, the consciousness that all living entities has its own rights, and probably, or in all times, they would probably say we need to respect all the living beings. But today,
yes, we have this. Actually, it's really much this also. How can we make people to feel the connection, that we are part of it, and not on the top of it, but a part of it, and then we cannot go through the brain. We have to go through the system on the skin and the.
What Kostas also said for one project, exactly, like and more there is a whole field of artistic approach to this, because we can give this sense, this feeling, this passion, then intuition, if you want, so that people really start to believe themselves. Not themselves, not only their mind or the theories around. But we can,
yes, also this, like that, the things that we have relation to, these we care for. I mean, if we don't, if it's only, but if we have a friend out there, we have a friend with the stones and the trees, then we will practice it. Very basic, yes.
It's true, yes. Simple is more difficult. Yes, we can together talk more at the end. And then let's give time. Irena, would you like then to give your part of perspective on this issue?
Do you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
I would like to share with you that maybe in the last 5 or 6 years, I'm really fond of idea of some kind of shift from the idea of identity politics to the struggle for majority human rights. If I am clear enough, I will try to explain. Mostly I'm focused to the right for different kind of socioeconomic rights and of the people around in community. And mostly it is not minority rights, it is majority rights. It is rights not to be hungry, rights to have a roof over your head, rights to not to starve. So it is not a minority rights, it is really majority rights. And lately, I'm looking at the artistic space, at the artistic practice as a kind of plateau for this kind of political struggle. Not just in a way of politicization of some topic or putting some topic on the stage, or exploring in an artistic way, but in a way to reconfigure artistic spaces for different kind of political struggle. I will give some example in order to understand me. For example, maybe interesting practice is what our Association of Fine Arts are doing in this moment. They prepare one very big campaign for the right of artists, for a right to work, or for a right to artistic work. But not only for themselves, but for the wider problematization of socioeconomic rights of the people. And I will maybe give you one example of my practice in order to explain you how I see theater as a place for this kind of reconfiguration of elements. Of course, there is a lot of themes and topics. We can speak about struggles against evictions or struggles for different kind of social justice or different practices of commoning. In January and February 2019, I have directed one performance, one storytelling performance, something between performance and installation in Shabbat's theater. And it was a performance inspired by the book of René Guillot, White Mane. I suppose that you know that book. It was one performance for children and adults, so for everyone. But I can share some pictures. I have some pictures of that performance. But in a matter of fact, I want to share what happens behind that performance, that invisible dynamics behind of that performance. While I have directed this performance, I have conducted one action research with the people from the theater. And that action research was focused on the problem of socioeconomical divisions within the hierarchy of theater, and the problem of different kind of exploitation within the artistic collectives. I can share that pictures. That is not pictures of action research, because action research was invisible behind, but I can share some pictures about white how white Main looks like as a theater. So behind this performance, first we organize a serial of semi-structured interviews with all actors and with all participants which are involved in this process. And the main goal of that semi-structured interview was to explore how much people in the theater are aware of socioeconomical differences between, especially between artistic ensemble and technical crew, and between different category of actors within the theater. And it was the first phase of our research, that exploration of some kind of class differences, class divisions within the theater. Then in second part of that action research, I offered to my actors and to my associates to imagine that we all have common property of 1,000 euro. That they need to imagine that we have common property of 1,000 euro, and they can think of and tell me how they want to distribute this money. Do they want to give someone to share among the members of the crew? Is that crew artistic or also technical? Who will have that money in this imaginary situation? If they want, they can choose maybe to give to make some philanthropic gesture or to put in the production, in the new production. And they gave me their opinions and gave some possible situation of that division of common properties. Still, they didn't know that we, in a matter of fact, we have a common property. They knew only that they took that information only as imaginary information. And then, in the meantime, while we are working on this wine main, I focused on the task to generate that common properties. And we really, it is a bit complicated to explain how we generate. We make all our fees from the directors and the associates equal with the salary of our actors, and then we generate surplus values of 1,000 euro, because but it's a bit mathematically, so I don't want to pressure with these mathematics, but finally we really gained common properties, realistic common properties of 1,000 euro. And then we organize one plenum. We present what we have done till that moment, how they wanted to share that imaginary property, and what we now can do with really common properties of 1,000 euro. And then that was that part, exploration of possibility of common properties or a practice of commoning in the theater. And then that plenum was very dramatic, I can say, because it was very dynamic, because not all people are happy to handle any situation related to the commoning or to the commons properties. or not all people are ready to take that kind of responsibility. Someone said it is anarchism, you can't do that, you can't attack theater institution, it is really damage what you did, or I don't want that responsibility, I didn't ask for that responsibility. Other people was very fond of that idea, and final decision was that our group wants to share that common properties on the equal parts with all people who were involved in the creative process, but not only artists, but also technical crew. But under one small condition, because artists was asked about that, they said we want 10% more because we have more work to do. In this white man, it is not easy experiment, theater experiment. We have a lot of work to do, and we want to have 10% more. Okay, it was a decision of all of us. We organized voting, and then in the period after that, we distribute that common properties according to this decision. After that, it was also quite bigger tension in the theater, because technical crew was very aware that it was not only symbolic differences, that then, in a matter of fact, practically it was symbolic, because when you distribute 1,000 euro to the 35 people, it is really small amount. But it is not just the issue of money amount, but the issue of social justice. And it was one, after that, technical crew asked to discuss, they wanted to speak with artists. Artists didn't want to speak about that. And it was a little, I don't know how to say, but strong tension before the premiere, before opening night. Somehow, it was very confrontative experience for them, for me. I was also involved in this situation. And somehow that issue is open within the theater. It is not some, I can't say that it is a reparatory project. It is more a confrontative project, to evoke a kind of responsibility among the members of middle class. And but it was the way how to provoke and try to use theater as a platform of commoning to really re-examine social justice in which we believe. So maybe I'm too long now. I will stop here. This was a white main. It was installation, but all of these things that I spoke to you happened behind the scene.
No, it's very interesting. It's like kind of, it seems to me like revealing things. Of course, I believe like institutional theater, all these differences exist, and maybe they're taken for granted. So you reveal this in point, as you said, it's a little bit confrontational, yes. But and then just one question before maybe you have other people to ask you anything. Did you say that something from this project enter in the performance? Or it was all behind, or something enter on the stage, like a scene, or?
On one level, it was part, I mean, main topic in the performance was problem of capitalistic exploitation of animals and the poor people. So it was not completely disconnected from the research, but we didn't use information related or emerged from the action research as a part of the performance. It was like analogy. This was a story about white men, and the capitalistic exploitation and social injustice was a kind of mirror of what's happening between us and our inquiring of our position, especially toward, for example, technical crew. We know that levels of social injustice in our theater institutions.
Yes, I mean, now more you talk, more I think it's interesting, very interesting and important, because I mean, we probably, if we look carefully, we as an artist, even if one work independently or in institution, we tend to think about ourselves like very liberal and mostly justful and so on. But probably if we look carefully, we would find also many practices that are socially unjust, or like some selfishness and things like that, that honestly one could always examine.
I mean, especially in theater institution, maybe at the independent stage, in the independent production, we tried very hard to practice commoning, to nurture fair practice and everything. But theater institutions in Serbia, I don't know how it is at your places, but in Serbia is a paradigm of system exploitation. So it was for me interesting because of that.
And only last question from me. And how was the response from the management of the theater about this experiment behind?
Administration also was administrative staff. They were also asked to participate in the research. The only two people did not, I mean, intentionally, I did not involve them. It was a director and accountant of theater, because I didn't want to expose them to something which is too much responsibility regarding their position, if you understand me. Yeah. But and we have on some level, we have a full support from the theater director. I mean, I was not too surprised from that, because it was in that moment, it was, she was our colleague, which comes from the independent scene, culture scene, and understand that issue very, Minja Bogavac, she understood that issue very clear, but she stayed distant. I mean, because she couldn't, because my idea was to do it with all performance during the season. But she said, no, you do whatever you want with your crew, but I'm not allowed to make it wider with other crews, because it would be too much, I mean, I suppose. So we have some silent support, but with constraints.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, we hear really what I'm thinking while we are talking. And of course, you are in the moment, you're the guest on this festival, and here we are already 4 days, and it's really make me think how the question of the human rights is so wide, and it's so of course this is notorious, but it's everything is connected. It's more we go deeper, more we talk the different aspects, more we are seeing how things are so interconnected, from the nature to the rights to the work, to the rights to the children. It's things are not going to, we can also say, things are not going to be better if we are not working in connectiveness in the net, as you wrote in the poem. This is how it is. So we have to actually, and it's so important that each of us or each of the artists or cultural workers are interested in different aspects, because the only way that we together can simply try to transform the society for better, which I think so many people are wishing for the moment. But let me give you also some time. Please be free to ask each other or give some insight or comments.
I think that in relation with what you have said previously, what is important is the cooperation between artists and non-artists. So this kind of network, I think, is important to involve people that can work with theater or with other parts of art, and also people that are not involved in this, but are people in the wider society that are active in the field of raising awareness on the human rights, such as people working in education or people working in NGOs, for example, or public organizations, or whoever could have a role in this field. And this is something that we try to promote through our projects, as kind of cooperation between artists and non-artists, because we want to take the advantages from everybody and combine it in order to unite the strengths and have a better, more effective outcome.
Thank you. I have a question to you, Irena. I was curious, was something changed in your group, in the theater, after you made this process?
Everything was changed, because it was hard because of very strong of tabooization of that issue on the beginning. And everything related to the common property, to the practice of commoning, is like a big taboo. You can't speak about how much money do you have on a monthly level. It is not, not that it is not allowed. It is allowed, but it is not kind to ask. And from that starting point, with the strong taboo, that all people don't want to speak, try to avoid. It was on the end, we have very dynamic interaction related to the issue of social injustice within the theater. Even dynamic, which includes the people from the technical crew, which was just some distant echo of this project, because everything will happen. So, first for a couple of days, it was completely taboo, with very strong pressure of taboo. Nobody wants to speak about money. Nobody wants to speak to, a lot of people didn't want even to imagine possibility of common property. It is especially interesting in our case because we have a socialist heritage. We have a heritage of socialistic self-management. I'm not sure that it is a good word, self-governance.
Self-governance, yes.
Yeah, and it is a bit, I don't know, in public discourse, it is already devaluated. It is presented as something dangerous, as something misused, as something that can attack you if you are not conscious enough. So that tabooization is even stronger than in some capitalistic countries with long tradition of capitalism. So it was really like, I think that it is easier to speak about sex with the people than about common properties, really, because it was a very strong resistance, and not on individual level, but on deep systemic level, which is internalized in all of them and in all of us. I also felt how I behave unkind when I ask someone, do you know how much money your colleagues has at the monthly level? I mean, I cut my tongue every time when I ask that question. But somehow we come to that big plenum where we can discuss that, and where we can confront with our responsibility. It is not very comfy position. Some people was very fond to find a way to excuse themselves, but majority of people was ready to fight. I mean, not among us, but fight with that issue. And it was, for me, it was a positive sign. It was really, I was surprised, because it was only 1 month of common life with a very big and delicate issue. And I saw people who are still open enough to discuss about their social positions and the privileges. So sorry.
No, it's interesting. I think Irena, knowing also Serbian or Yugoslavian tradition, it's paradoxical completely, but also I think it's connected with the lack of real classical social class awareness, because our history that's supposed to be a failure of the socialism create these new taboos, but in the same time, people don't have the classical social fight experience, like you have to fight for your economic and social rights. And interesting that this is going on in the theater, and your project is some kind of almost theatralization of social class problem going back. It's very interesting. And I wanted to ask something, Petra and Jessica, how is this relation with the community? You said that the community now recognize like this project like ongoing, and that they want to invest further, because I was also, I don't know if I'm wrong, but I'm having impressions that we are after many years, many years, that theater was either or artistic or entertainment or like having pure social educative value. It's opening the space really deeply to recognize art as a tool, but not only practical tool, which was as a tool for social, spiritual development and all the rest. How is your feeling, and how is your experience in the community where you are now, or in Sweden in general?
In general, I first want to say about our commune, because we live in a very small commune, but they have this slogan, the green heart of the south of Sweden. So of course, and it's about nature, but it's a rather right-wing commune. But I think this that we work on the senses to get to people through the senses. One of these people, heads on the employment, working with companies, she was there and she was so touched, and then she felt this is really equality. What can we do with this? Because this is what we need in the commune. So I think that was special. What do you say?
And according to theater as education. And so, I mean, they asked, applied for money. The commune applied for money so we could play our performance for all the kids from 1st to 3rd grade.
Mm.
And this is because they feel the need that because it's about, there is so much forest here, but nobody goes there, or they know it's important to capture what Petra's parents knew, and all the Swedes before. Everybody was very connected to nature, but this is disappearing. So I think they recognized this and asked us, and our neighbor commune is also now doing the same for the younger classes. Yeah, so they recognize it as education.
Yeah,
and yeah.
But I think it's, I don't know, we have worked very direct with the commune, I don't know. It seems like it's the right time, because people, it's when we did it first time, people said it here in my little town, they said, oh, you won't have people. How many performances are you going to make? We said 12. Oh, you're crazy. You cannot fill. But we have overfilled performances. So I think it's something in the time. People, and we don't tell them you have to do like this. We make people feel, and then they don't feel judged. And then it's easy to go into it, because many of us are worried about nature and we love. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we like it's true. It's a common feeling on the planet, no? And it's good. Yes, many often theater is in front of its time, but it's also good when we are exact on time, and and it's so needed, definitely.
Yes, and of course, it's more easy to meet maybe on this climate change thing than on politics, because there it's, yeah, I don't know.
Yes, we obviously we also have similar experience. You know, the climate change is now unavoidable topic, and it's so important that we and it's in a way like any critical moment. It's like it's moving people. They need to do something, but everything else is also connected. The situation of climate change is all because of all these other things that's going on: social inequality, social injustice, capitalism, ultra consumist society, no cooperation between so all the things we happen, actually they are part of this top of the iceberg, as they say. But so if you're having some closing thoughts, or we are.
Yes, I have.
Yes, please.
It's so nice to meet you and to be together here, but I hope we meet I'm really longing for a meeting also in physically.
Yes.
Share our work, and
we too also, like it was a helpful tool just not to lose the touch with all of us artists, all our colleagues, but also we have to fight to keep on what is the most essential. This is a human contact, human connection. So in that name, let's hope soon. Yes, Irena.
I just want to, I don't have an answer. I just would like to share that question. Lately, you mentioned climate changes, and you spoke about how that movement has much easier access to people somehow. I mean, make potential for a wider audience or wider feedback. And lately, I'm thinking very intensely what is the role of art and theater, how to explain the people interrelations between problem with climate changes and the bigger social dynamics of colonization and social injustice. And I really feel that some kind of a lack of awareness of that connection. And I was thinking how theater and art can, but not in some moralistic way or some didactic way, but really how can make that point, how can offer the people deeper explanation and deeper insight of that interrelations. I'm not sure if
I also agree that theater needs to be political, and some of the greatest theater of all times was political. And I think that whatever makes the people think, either through the process or through the performance, could contribute to that. So to start the process of thinking of this kind of relations, of either through participatory theater that we make, mostly participatory theater, so we ask the people to think about situations given on specific scenario and what they think about this. So critical thinking is, I think, it's the main point here, that a scenario or through a participation or through viewing as an audience or through another way, to be able to think critically about not only that what is happening, because we all know, I mean, most people know that something is happening, but why this is happening, or who is to be held accountable, let's say, for this. And this can be started by a theater, this kind of critical thinking, which of course does not provide all the answers, but can provide more questions to think about.
Yeah, and the theater is one of the best tools to provoke to put the questions on the table and to give people, to stimulate people to continue thinking. So thank you so much for being together, even virtually, sharing the thoughts. This is also, as you said, one of the very important things that we have and we can use to think together, just to have dialogue, to think together, not only to consume the thoughts and messages and ideas and theories, but through thinking together, sometimes we come to the unexpected ideas. But until next time, live in person, I send you regards from all of us here. And thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mm.
And thanks, Petra, for a reminder on Buber.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.